Thank you, Randy. That was a wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it. It's great to be with you all this morning. You got a full day of talking about innovation and creativity, so maybe I can help set the stage and give you a few thoughts. I guess I can't overestimate the dramatic shift taking place in the industry, all driven by technology. We talk about it all the time. You know, for my generation, in many respects, it's an alien world, one turned upside down, and we are caught between an analog and a digital world, a tectonic shift, and that shift is affecting us as we live through it. So I'm going to talk today about this transition from these two worlds and how it's playing out in the product we offer, in the market that we create, and the employee base we'll need to make that shift. So this is it's an age of analytics. Huh? Currency is data, code is king. Take a look at this.
You heard you got a job as a developer.
It's official. I work for GE.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, I'll be writing a new language for machines, so planes, trains, even hospitals can work better. This is, oh!
Sorry, I was trying to put it away.
Got it on the key.
So you're gonna work on a train?
Not on a train, on trains.
You're not gonna develop stuff anymore?
No, I am. Do you know what GE is?
So, are we all destined to be technology companies who market different products? I know one insurance broker who now describes themselves exactly that way, a technology company whose product is insurance. I mean, there's a growing acknowledgement that analytics and data are overtaking our industry, and that's what's driving this disruption that we're all talking about. Our business truly is broken. And that disruption is there for a good reason. We are too expensive, we're inefficient. You know, other companies, other industries have figured out how to use data to make the buying and selling experience so much better. But we continue to make it painful and annoying for our customers. I'd like to take a look at this thing. This is, take a look at how we price and underwrite our small commercial business. This is a question on one of the surveys to select a restaurant risk. You know, it's a carryover from a time, who knows when, maybe some underwriter had a loss that was Wicker generated. There's no thought process necessarily into, you know, the risk reward on that. We know a producer down in West Palm Beach who told us he had to move an entire portfolio, entire book of business because the carrier wouldn't write the business because of the answer to this question. Well, if you've been to West Palm Beach, you know, there's wicker everywhere. You couldn't write anything in that city. So it's a legacy of an analog world. You know, we're sort of you know, the product of you know, our underwriting father passing it on to his underwriter son. You know, and I mean, there's 60 questions on a survey sometimes. How many of those are necessary to price the risk? And if you get that in an analog way, what are the chances that you have human error and bias? Here are a few more questions typical in this process. Fire extinguishing system, you know. Well, by the way, in most places, you can't stay open without one of those, and if you're starting a new business, you can't start it without that. Here's another question. It has to do with, you know, central fire alarms and burglar systems. So yeah, you would like to know if they're there, but wouldn't you also want to know if they're actually effective? You know, are they connected? Are they working? Is there a monitoring going on? Are they on when they're supposed to be? Will the fire department respond? Will the other response come if there's a burglary? So, you know, we got a lot of false alarms out there. Maybe they won't. So, you know, we've got to ask our question. We really have to say, are we asking the right questions like effectiveness as opposed to just physical presence? And are we getting the answers in a digitally savvy way? And as we're cleaning up this analog to digital situation, you know, we've got other things emerging. We've got the digital world. I mean, drones. You know, there's going to be 1 million drones by the end of the year. I think it's the hottest Christmas present you can give. You better get your orders in early. And so this changing landscape, I mean, the risk du jour right now is cyber. You know, Governor Ridge, great American, talked about it. It's on everybody's lips. I don't want to say it's not an important thing. It's hugely important. But we have other things going on. Digitally creative disruption is disrupting everything we write, every risk we take. And so what I fear is that we will focus on one and miss the big picture, not see the forest for the trees. Here's a couple of examples. You know, homes turned into hotels, cars turned into cash. And so, you know, what are the risks associated with using a private property for business purposes? You know, I mean, are we going to analyze these things in an analog way? You know, the shared economy has been born out of a digital world, and it's not going to be insured in an analog way. And the complexity of these risks demand a new mindset. I mean, there are things called digital ecosystems, and these are partnerships that are required to create a product with the diversity of activity that's taking place. Blue Marble is an example of this. I don't know if you know much about Blue Marble. It's just been formed. It's a consortium of 8 insurance companies, and they're devoted to breaking the code with respect to microinsurance. And the idea was that no one insurance company could do it. You know, you look at the efforts, and they're limited at best. They may go on the CSR section of the annual report, and maybe that was the only reason they were being done. And so these 8 companies recognized that they individually couldn't do it, so maybe we should form a consortium. I'm proud to say Hamilton's one of the members of that consortium. And when I was thinking about this, I knew that one couldn't do it. What I didn't realize was that we 8 couldn't do it alone, that there had to be an ecosystem created with many other industries. And we've been just blessed and overwhelmed with the interest that has come to Blue Marble from a diverse set of other industries, whether there's organizations already in the developing world providing other products, or it's payment companies, or technology, data-driven, analytic companies, all coming together to say, let's try to solve this problem. And I think that's what we have to do. I mean, if we can solve the micro problem, you solve the acquisition issue, you can reverse engineer that and bring it to the rest of the world. So this consortium of digital ecosystems, I think, is an important issue that's going to be required to get us where we need to go. And then while we're talking about it, you know, we have a changing marketplace. Again, two-world issue. There's a lot of M&A and also this alternative capital, 2 obvious reasons why our marketplace is shifting so rapidly. So this M&A activity, well, it's born of a lot of things. Low interest rates, reliance on cat business may be one issue, but that's just a micro set of, you know, just needing to diversify your product line and geography. You know, we also have, you know, companies in Japan and China with capital and a need to move. Maybe their demographics aren't right. So all of that is happening, no question about it. And I get the question, is it over? And of course, obviously not, but maybe that's not the most important question. The most important question, I think, is this M&A producing the insurance company of the future? And one of the keys to the answering of that question, I think, is alternative capital. And by the way, alternative capital is here to stay. Let's not, there's all this talk about, is it going to stick around? Yes, it's here. So I say embrace it, make your friend, use it. And when you think about this two-world issue that we're in, and these consortiums and ecosystem questions, I think one of the keys to this future is, are we going to be able to use this alternative capital to get out of maybe a traditional approach to risk-taking? This alternative capital is chasing old ideas. It's new money chasing old ideas, and I'd like to see this new money chase new ideas and work together to create a different structure. Another question, another key to answering the question of this insurance company of the future is basically how we define ourselves. What do we do? Are we adding value? My friends in the brokering community, what do you do for a living? Why are you standing between the insured and us? And if it's because you can process data and gather stuff in an analog fashion, I think you've got the wrong answer there. I mean, if you're in the data processing business, you better move a lot of it through your system. You are a trusted advisor. And so if you're not adding value in that regard, I think you've got some soul searching to do. Either you add value or you get out of the way. Fix it or get out of the way. The insurance companies, what do you do for a living? Are you truly risk takers? Are you evaluating data and making the right decisions? So you better figure out how you do that in a way that adds value in this rapidly evolving world. I think that to look at this question of what the insurance companies of the future, I think you have to think about, are we a technology company? You heard Randy describe my vision, and I do say that about ourselves, and so now I actually have to create this thing. But what is that company? You better be good at data science. You better be good at the world of algorithms and analysis. You better be good at capital management too. You better be able to be so fluent in capital management and using alternative capital, it doesn't really matter. Is it the capital you're holding for your shareholders? Is it reinsurance capital? Is it at other forms of capital? You better be a maestro at managing that if you're going to be a good insurance company. You got to be a great capital manager in general. I think you have to be very much at home in this new world where these digital ecosystems emerge, because you're not going to be able to deliver the product with the skill set you have sitting in your company. It's just not going to happen. You're going to need partnerships, and you're going to have to be very facile in being able to move in and out of other industries and creating product that the insured really, really wants. And above all, you better be adding value. And so in that process, it brings me to the next question, which is, what kind of people do we need to create that insurance company of the future? Before we get into that, let's take a look at this.
Millennials, there are 80 million of them, 19 to 34 years old, swarming the US of A and leaving nothing but selfie sticks and gluten-free pizza crusts in their wake. And the worst part is, we're falling all over ourselves just to get their attention. Even me. Right now, I'm on Snapchat. That's right, Snapchat. This is what I've jumped to.
Well, I guess we all have this problem that Lewis Black has, right? So we're all talking about them, these millennials. I call them digital natives, born between 87 and 89. They've been bathed in bits since they were born. What a wonderful term, huh? Which I've stolen, by the way. Bathed in bits. Now me, I'm a digital immigrant. I'm a stranger in a strange land when it comes to technology. Look at it, it's not second nature to me like it is for a digital native. My comfort with technology is definitely old school. Now, we immigrants, digital immigrants, baby boomers, we used to be the most populous generation. Not anymore. And in the next 3 years or so, we're going to have a lot of people leaving the insurance industry. You know, there's a lot of talk about this gap of 400,000 open positions. And so we're going to have to pull in a number of those 80 million strong millennials with their digital mindset to get us where we need to go. Now, millennials. Now, I think they're the most studied people in the world. I don't know. But anyway, we know a lot about them. You know, they're looking for careers that matter. They don't like hierarchy. They like a lot of feedback. They don't see the logic in working in prescribed hours and prescribed workplaces. And by the way, they are absolutely not interested in an insurance career. But, you know, if we took everyone that's in the risk and insurance programs around the world, we'd fill maybe 15% of the need. So we really need to bring more people in. Here's a look at the kind of office space they feel comfortable in. So does your office look like this? Actually, I'm trying to make our office look a little bit like that, but I don't have the graffiti on the wall. We do have digital natives in my company. Here's one right here. His name is Ryan. And he joined our company with a few others. So there are a few out there who want to be in our business. And I asked him, so, you know, what would you do as he comes in? And he says, look, I'd knock down the walls literally and figuratively. I'd have everybody in teams. I'd have us working together to create. And I said, well, why'd you join us? And he said, well, you know, I see an industry, I see a potential for change, and I see, you know, people who understand what's happened in the past, and this marriage of that knowledge and capabilities and potential future is what brought him in here. Now, here's what our industry looks like generally. Yeah, laugh. Go ahead. Yeah. You know, I gave a speech about a year ago, and the title was "Where Are the Women?" And by the way, you know, I'm not the only one asking this question. So before we move on, take a look at this. So, you know, not only are millennials the biggest generation, they're actually the most diverse. You know, we talk a lot about diversity and inclusion. I'm not sure we've really made much progress. I hope we're committed to it. But by the way, by 2050, there isn't going to be an ethnic or racial majority in the United States. And by the way, they're not just our workforce, they're our customers too. We are truly between two worlds. And we've got this age gap to boot. You know, in some companies, we're going to have 4 generations. In fact, I think in my company, because of me, I think we have a 4-generation situation. So we're going to need to create workplaces where everybody feels comfortable, you know, the old and the new in an environment. It's very, very challenging. But if we can do it right, it's our best chance for that productivity, for that innovation and creativity, this blending of cultures, blending of ages, blending of mindsets, both analog and digital. If we can do it, that's the secret sauce. So this question of diversity, inclusion, shifting demographics, and a massive generation gap, you know, as far as our workforce is concerned, there is a direct line between these issues and the talent crises in our industry. And the question is, what do we do about it? And there's really I think two components. They're interrelated. One is that insurance has a bad name. In fact, it's got a terrible reputation. And the other is the millennials don't even consider insurance when they think about their careers. I think there's probably less than 5% with most recent research. So a lot of companies have had individual efforts to try to solve this problem. And if you go back to my Blue Marble example, I think we're going to have to do more, but I think we're going to have to do it together. So Hamilton has been working with a group of organizations and companies, and you can see PCI prominently displayed as one of them, to come up with a solution. The objective is to raise awareness of insurance as a great career and attract millennials to our industry. The first phase is going to be an Insurance Career Month. It's going to be February next year. The official launch of this whole effort is next Monday, and we're trying to get at least 200 carriers and brokers participating. And the millennials that are inside the industry will be the driving force. And then in the fall, this army of millennials will fan out across the United States, and they'll visit high schools and college campuses, and they'll also use social media, their native tongue, to get out the word. And that word is that insurance is the career trifecta. I kind of like that, career trifecta. So it's stable, it's rewarding, and it's limitless. And I know you're going to hear more about that next week through your connections with PCI. So let me summarize. We're between two worlds. We have a world of new risks. We have a new market landscape as we try to evolve to address this changing world, and we have a new workforce required. It's exhilarating, it's nerve-wracking, it's once in a lifetime. Aren't we lucky? But we have, I think we are, and I hope you have a great conference, and I hope you address these issues in more detail. I've only scratched the surface, and I'd love to see what the results are. Thank you very much. I think I got a minute or two for some questions. Is that right? I don't know how much time I got left here. Minute or two? Okay, you'll call me when to stop. Okay, so questions. I won't tell you anything about Benghazi or subs in the cables and all that stuff. Anybody? I get that question in Bermuda. They want me to be the premier. The answer is no to that, too. Well, it's it's very much our event. It's an industry event, and the thrust of it is really to get the word out about insurance. And insurance, as a career that gives, when you look at what millennials want, insurance is a perfect match. We just got to get that across to them. That we do things that are very fulfilling. They're wonderful, objectives in our business, and we've got to get that across to the millennials. And to me, the best way to get that across to millennials is through millennials. That let those who have discovered our industry speak for us and explain why they're there, why they continue to be part of this, and what is possible with the efforts that we and they can put together. So that's the thrust of it. So we want guys who run companies to get out there and speak to the millennials within their organization and get them mobilized, effectively mobilized to do this. That's the long and short of it. We'll be calling upon all of you to do this, by the way. We good? I guess so. Thank you very much.